Today we are going to talk about media and process. So let's talk about the terminology first. Media is what material you used. This is plural. Singular would be medium, the material in which an artist works. Medium is the correct term to use when you refer to what material is used to make an artwork. So if you said, "Excuse me, sir, what medium did you use to create this piece?" "Ah, thank you for asking. I used oil paints." The plural of medium is media, which means the same thing. So, what media will we be using in this art class? We will be using graphite, pencil, clay, and paint. Media can be divided into wet and dry media. Examples of wet media would be paint, ink, markers, pen and ink, and oil pastel. In a wet medium, the pigment is suspended in some sort of binder. A dry medium is pencil, crayon, chalk, pastels, or charcoal. If you've ever used a dry medium versus a wet medium, you'd notice that the medium handles very differently depending on whether it's wet or dry. And its application might be in a stick of chalk or a stick of charcoal if it's dry, or suspended in a pigment and applied with a brush if it is wet. Then we have the term process. This is the series of actions that it took to create the artwork. It answers the question, how did you create that? So if I said, "Please give me a picture of a chicken," you might ask, how should I create this picture of a chicken? You are asking about the process. I might answer, paint a picture of a chicken, or photograph a chicken, or even draw the chicken with pencil. And I'm talking about the process in which the art is made. So today we're going to talk about these processes: painting, drawing, printmaking, photography, digital media, and sculpture. First, let's talk about drawing. Drawing is the act of making marks, lines, sketches, etc. with a pen, pencil, marker, chalk, but usually not with paint. Here you can see some examples of different media that are used to create a drawing. It includes, but not limited to, graphite pencil, pen and ink, marker, and to create a drawing, you usually press the medium to a surface or piece of paper and drag it along to make a mark. Painting is the art or act of making pictures using paint or ink with a brush. So you can see different examples of different styles of paint, including spray painting, below. So the media or the medium used would be paint, whether it's oil paint from a tube, watercolor paint that you have to add water to, spray paint, ink, and the process is usually using a brush, wetting the brush with the pigment and dragging it along a surface. When you are talking about spray paint, the pigment is suspended in an aerosol can and sprayed onto a surface. Then there's printmaking. Printmaking is the art or technique of making prints, especially as practiced in engraving, etching, dry point, woodcut, serigraphy, etc. The cool thing about a print is you create the original and then you can copy it over and over again, thus making a print of the original over and over again. A medium used would be ink in most cases. And the process, you would have to prepare your surface first, whether it's carving into a linoleum block or a wood block, or creating a stencil or silk screen, and then applying ink to that surface and making a print. Then we have photography. Photography is the art or practice of taking and processing photographs. This can be done old school style using a darkroom or using digital photography. So you could use a film camera that has to be processed, or a digital camera or smartphone. And the process is finding what you're going to take a picture of and pressing a button. And then you either develop it in a dark room, or you send your pictures away to be developed, or you have it easily accessible on a digital device. Speaking of digital devices, we're moving into digital media. Creating digitized content that can be transmitted over the internet or computer networks. This can include text, audio, video, and graphics. This can be used for a wide range of artistic endeavors, including product design, architecture, or drawing. And you get a lot of the same looks as you would for drawing and painting, but using digital media instead. You would need a digital program to do this, and some people like to use a drawing board, like a bamboo board, or they could even use their computer mouse, or if they have a touch screen, they could use a stylus or their finger. And that would be the process of creating digital media. Lastly, we have sculpture. Sculpture is the art of making 2 or 3-dimensional representative or abstract forms, usually 3-dimensional, meaning you can pick it up and look at all sides of it or walk all the way around it. So the media for sculpture could include, but is not limited to, clay, wood, metal, found objects. And the process is usually subtractive or additive. In this image here, you see a clay sculpture, which is subtractive. You are removing some clay. You could also add clay. It could be additive. If you're carving into a wood block, it's subtractive. You're taking away wood. If you are creating a found object sculpture, it's additive. You're compiling or adding the parts of the sculpture together. Okay, so let's take this to the next level. Let's play What in the World Did They Use to Make This? Take a look at this. Think for a moment. What did they use? If you guessed Post-it notes, you're correct. What about this? Look at the scale. This is a covered walkway, so it's very, very large in scale. Look very closely at each individual item. Does it look like a flip-flop to you? If you said yes, you are correct. The whole monkey's made of flip-flops. Now this is a much smaller scale, but you can see that it's easily made of buttons. What about this? No, it's not digital media. It's not drawing or painting. This is actually called quilling, and it's made of wound up pieces of very thin paper. This one gives you a hint right there in the image. Yes, it's a painting made of melted chocolate. What about this one? This might be a toy that you enjoyed using when you were younger, or you might still enjoy using today. Yes, this sculpture is made of Lego bricks. Almost done. Check this one out. Look very closely. What is this sculpture made of? Yes, wishbones. And lastly, here is a sculpture made of something that's partly edible. Yep, it's made of a watermelon. Thank you so much for joining me today when we learned about process and media.